the Muhammad Ali Cup and the Crossing of Fates, September 2017, Berlin, Germany. The cruiserweight boxing world, 200 pounds, was preparing for an unprecedented event. The start of the World Boxing Super Series, WBSS, a knockout tournament to crown an undisputed champion in honor of Muhammad Ali. Ukrainian Oleksandr Usyk, 12 and 10 KOs, arrived as the WBO World Champion, undefeated, an Olympic and amateur world champion. He was the tournament's primary technical star, but his fame had not yet reached the general public. His professional record was spotless, but his opponents lacked the renown of the rival he was about to choose. Usyk chooses his opponent, Personal Vengeance. As the #1 seed, Usyk had the privilege of selecting his quarterfinal opponent. His choice was deliberate and carried a clear personal tone. The veteran hometown fighter, Käpt'n Huck, 44-1, 27 KOs. The controversial rival Huck, 32, was once the cruiserweight champion with the second longest title defense streak in the division's history, 13 defenses of his WBO title. However, his style was rough and his trash talk constant. He enjoyed provoking in interviews and claiming fights would be easy because his opponent was a loser, and according to many, he often fought on the edge of the rules or outright outside them. The offense Usyk revealed the real reason. There is only one opponent I do not like, Huck. He is a bad man because this man said bad things about my mother. This was a settling of accounts, an act of vengeance in the ring. Usyk did not just want to win, he wanted to punish Huck's arrogance and bad behavior. Therefore, the fight would be more personal than ever, and Usyk would be in an above-expected mode, since he could not lose after making such a statement in interviews. Critics and the boxing-following public immediately knew it would be one of the year's best fights, yet there was still time for training and fine-tuning other details before the bout. Statistics and the forecast. Despite being the champion, Usyk was not the major media favorite, especially fighting in Huck's home. Nevertheless, the bookmakers were not wrong. Oleksandr Usyk was the clear favorite, approximately 400, which implied betting $400 to win 100, thanks to his speed, Olympic movement, and high punch volume. Huck was considered the underdog. Although his power was respected, he came off a disappointing defeat, and his stamina over the distance had been questioned in previous fights. Provocation and training. A duel of temperaments. The Usyk camp, discipline and contempt. Usyk's team focused on athletic endurance and ring IQ. They knew Huck would try to fight dirty and at close range. The anti-Huck plan. Training centered on constant lateral movement to wear down Huck's legs and body work to undermine his base, avoiding at all costs staying in one place so the German could lean on him or throw his illegal punches. Also, to be able to wear him down round after round until he could no longer defend himself. The unbreakable mindset. When Huck launched personal insults, Usyk used the anger as concentrated fuel. The champion knew that Huck's uncontrolled fury was his own weakness. Making him lose control would be a key factor between a quick victory or a fight extended to the final round. Considering the fatigue, critics said Usyk would have a greater advantage in the later rounds, but getting to that point would be a real challenge, since the champion would surely want to finish the fight before the 5th round. At this point, how do you see the fight? Remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss the best boxing matches. Everything was against Usyk, even the venue. But knowing the fight had personal elements made critics and the public not lose all hope. Usyk could not lose. The final offense. The push at the press conference tension exploded at the face-off. Huck, attempting a final act of intimidation, shoved Usyk with both hands in full view of the cameras. Huck's mistake. Although Huck managed to make Usyk shout, "I'm going to bury him on Saturday," while being pulled away, the effect was the opposite of what he wanted. The shove only reinforced Usyk's determination to prolong the fight, not to end it quickly, but to make Huck regret every word. The fight a masterclass in boxing round by round. On September 9th, at the Max Schmeling Halle, the atmosphere was fervent. Rounds 1 to 3. Distance dominance. Usyk went out to apply the Olympic strategy of touch and don't be touched. He moved relentlessly, using the jab to keep Huck at range. Key fact, Usyk threw twice the number of punches as Huck. The German was throwing heavy punches at air, while Usyk landed steady jabs. Huck's legs already began to look slow, an early sign of fatigue. It is the disadvantage of being so heavy. You have a lot of power. Yes, but if your opponent is smart and has much experience with fighters of your build, he will know how to use distance and punish you quickly.
Hamburg, as you saw from the opening sequence, what a magnificent amphitheater for boxing. Hard right to the body was scored by Huck, and so Usyk, both men look to invest early on in body shots. Marco Huck, 2017, coming off a loss, remember. Maris Bradis of Latvia, for the vacant WBC title, he's on the line, and immediately Marco Huck's corner team were up on the ring apron. That's a transgression of the rules, of course, and upon a two-phase attack from Marco Huck, because the first jab fell short, but as Usyk started to wail away to the body, good right jab in evidence from Usyk, who's got his composure around. Both men showing flashes of the tactics that they want to employ. Around the boxing ring has established a good right jab. Some hurtful shots have been landed, far less activity. A couple of lead right hands tried. Usyk engaged. Corner, Oleksandr Usyk fairly swaggered back to his, and he's electing to stand in between. So to the second round we go. Oleksandr Usyk, kilogram heavyweight division. Absolutely sensational boxing. Think about that class of 2012, but it's a pretty impressive bunch of medalists and champs in the professional ranks. Vasyl Lomachenko, his compatriot, of course, already a contender. The pound-for-pound list, the mythical pound-for-pound list, had the Trailblazers and upstairs followed. Remember, Robert Byrd said that anything on the waistband of those trunks getting up around their pecs, in the way that some veteran fighters like to do to increase the, was clear in his instructions that anything on the waistband is good. Back to that Olympic class of 2012. The Trailblazers of Nicola Adams. First ever women's Olympic boxing tournament. Clarissa Shields already.
Rounds 4 to 6. The body punishment. Usyk began to press harder. Every time Huck managed to close in for an exchange, Usyk met him with body combinations and quick left hooks. Usyk's objective was obvious: to destroy Huck's engine. The frustration. Huck resorts to dirty tactics. He grabs, pushes, and throws rabbit punches to the back of the neck. Referee Robert Byrd begins to warn the German. Usyk calmly ducks the dirty blows and returns with precision. How dirty? He knew Usyk was executing an incredible strategy and used prohibited tactics to try to neutralize him. It could have cost him dearly, since the referee does not usually give many warnings, given that we are talking about a high-risk sport.
Has plenty of pop on it, does that punch, but it was blocked easily. That's a wonderful left hand to the body from Usyk. Usyk nodding in acknowledgement. You can be sure that shot got his attention, but he's back in the space of the ring now. Got through from Huck, but again, Usyk bearing that gum shield in that maniac to become just a little bit disorganized. Now more left hand success. Downstairs and upstairs from Oleksandr Usyk. Backing away. Usyk on the front foot, closing down his man. 40 seconds to go. But it's Usyk who's getting the better of those exchanges, because his success seems to be spurred into action every time Huck enjoys a little bit of success. Now Huck forced his man, Marco Huck, breathing through an open mouth. 32 years of age now, remember, Huck. There's a lot of miles on the clock, but remember, the 4 defeats on his record have all come, so made to be a little bit uncomfortable. But there's nothing new for Marco Huck, as game in the face of some firepower from Marco Huck. It was he who, from my vantage point, and that preceded a fantastic combination. Uppercut through the middle, hooks around the corner. Oleksandr Usyk exploited it, and he started the 5th round quickly. Immediately onto the front foot, still near the neutral corner. Usyk continuing to look for openings in the attempted defenses. Left hook once again. Huck, as he gets onto the front foot. There's a wonderful lead right hand out of the orthodox stance, and it's Usyk who's landing the heavy leather hard right hook. Got behind the left hand of the Oleksandr Usyk is 30, but remember, he spent such a long and distinguished time in the unpaid boxing career. 2012 Olympic gold, we've already mentioned, of course, that was his 2nd Olympic tournament. 4 years prior to that. Hard right hand to the body landed by Huck. But again, look at that vision from Oleksandr Usyk, managing to snake his way through the guard with that southpaw right. By showboating in evidence from Oleksandr Usyk, saying, yeah, is that your Sunday punch? Well, that didn't hurt. He dipped it. And Usyk continuing to grin that gum shield contemptuously in the face of the punches. Cracking contest so far in this, the first quarterfinal of the World Boxing Super Series.
Rounds 7 and 8. The lesson in boxing and the point deduction. The contrast of styles was overwhelming. Huck was gasping, moving with difficulty, while Usyk kept floating around the ring. Usyk looked incredible. The preparation he had before this fight was extraordinary. It seemed Huck had no chance against him. He had completely underestimated him. Huck's strategies didn't work, and he could no longer resort to another dirty tactic, or he would be disqualified. The climax of the dirtiness. In the 8th round, in a moment of desperation, Huck threw a punch at Usyk while he was slipping or on the canvas. Referee Bird finally intervened, deducting a point from Marco Huck for foul play. This not only widened the gap on the scorecards, but it was a public punishment for his conduct. Round 9. The beginning of the end, Usyk, sensing the scent of victory, increased the intensity. It was no longer just about outboxing Huck, but about finishing him. The cruel round. Usyk unleashed a barrage of unanswered punches, the most violent of the fight. The straights were landing clean. Huck was stunned and only managed to survive thanks to his veteran instincts and leaning on the ropes. The ropes, which normally offer respite, only exposed him.
Of his 4 defeats, only 2 of them have come inside the distance. But he can't evade these blows. He's back to the space of center ring now and turns the tables, hitting Usyk to the ropes, and that perhaps instructive. And having turned the tables on his man, he didn't take the opportunity to work away. Instead, that he's being set by Oleksandr Usyk. You mentioned the fact he may have taken a break with a cracking cross through the middle before bringing an uppercut underneath. Man around the boxing ring, a rather ponderous-looking overarm right fight in. Usyk there in the boxing ring, taking a breather now, bobbing and weaving in front of his man. The right hand from Huck, his man down once more, looking for openings with feather-like shots, pecking and poking with that right drag. Shot once again, but now here comes Oleksandr Usyk, unloading heavy leather. Huck covering significant pressure, and there's the bell. As Huck managed to weave his way out to center. Turn to the 8th round then. Marco Huck trying to establish a hard right, complaining, let's go, I said that anything on the belt line is good, let me rest. You're something of a torrid round in round number 7, particularly in the concluding stages of housekeeping regarding the scoring here in the Muhammad Ali tournament. Boxing, of course, does require some adaptation to the Marquis of Queensberry rules.
Round 10. The ultimate humiliation. Usyk came out mercilessly. The Ukrainian trapped Huck in a corner and unleashed a storm of punishment. The sentence: left hook, right straight, double jab. The punches landed without interruption. Huck, completely defenseless and taking unnecessary damage, no longer threw anything. He only covered up with his hands down. Referee Robert Bird, seeing that Huck had become a walking punching bag, had no option but to intervene and stop the fight. Oleksandr Usyk wins by technical knockout in the 10th round. The entire crowd gives him a standing ovation, and everyone is astonished at how Usyk managed to control the whole fight against all odds.
Usyk, encouraged by the vocal support he's receiving here at the poise, remaining composed, looking for the openings as he looks to break down the defenses. Former champion. And again, it's cries of Usyk operating around this magnificent amphitheater for boxing. That's a hard right hand to the body from Huck. Now did that him because he retreated to the ropes and then initiated a clinch midway through from Huck. But again, every time Usyk gets onto the front foot, and irrespective of what he is hitting, Huck is being driven backwards. Now, is he trying to launch a sneaky counter right hand like that?
Legacy. The consecration of class, Usyk not only defended his WBO title, but he sent a message to the world. Technical class and discipline will always overcome unchecked aggression and dirty tactics. He had kept his promise, punishing Marco Huck for each of his offenses. The WBSS legacy. This victory propelled Usyk into a historic run, where he would dominate Maris Briedis and then Murat Gassiev in the final, becoming the undisputed cruiserweight champion.
Oleksandr Usyk, is he looking to finish it here? Huck trying to hold on, but instead he's only covering up. Bobbing and weaving, body caused him to wilt. Again, he's trying to fight his way out of the corner. Uppercut ripping through the middle. Robert Bird poised on Huck. All of his strength being put to the test. Usyk working away furiously. Shots underneath off. In the 10th round of this contest, Oleksandr Usyk left his WBO cruiserweight title, stopping Marco Huck.
The lesson taught to Marco Huck was the first step in a legend. A spectacle guaranteed. There is no doubt it will always be a spectacle to watch Oleksandr Usyk fight, especially when an opponent has said personal things and he takes it truly seriously. You do not want to make Usyk angry. Call to action. Remember to follow us for more fights like this. We promise to bring you the best of boxing if you subscribe and share the video with your friends. See you in the next video.